Thank you, Tony, for the intro. We're going to come to kind of share a little bit about the fruits of your labors by kind of sharing kind of what it's done for us. And not a whole lot of mechanics involved, though we can admit it were the mechanics that yield the results that we got. All right, so our story is really simple. When we got into business together, which was kind of unique in itself. How many partnerships do you know make it? Yeah. So after 23 years, we've been very fortunate and blessed in a big time way. And the reason is because we know our places, and that's what's most important. That's why most partnerships don't make it, especially in a family business. Mm-hmm. So we're not even family, and going pretty good. So we'll share a little bit, kind of what you can accomplish through this thing if you do the work, and I believe this, and just apply and follow success principles. When I say that, we made a decision from the very beginning. If we're gonna do this, and we're gonna become a company, we're gonna do things right, morally, ethically, integrity-wise, character. Everything we've done is we've done our best, because you can't make everybody happy, to do it right. And that being said, we built a heck of a lot of great relationships with our clients. Literally, most of our clients now are friends. It's kind of cool. You just build great relationships, and one of the reasons why you don't want to quit, and why when the word retirement comes up, it's like I can't really relate to that, is because I can't relate to not going out there and spending time with my friends, with all the relationships that we built. So that's why it's tough. Now I am working on it. When I say working on it, not quitting, not necessarily retiring, but slowing down. I am definitely working on that, because there's got to be a little bit of an understanding that this machine that we built over 23 years and 100 projects that are rotating every 3 years, if you just take a step back and say, what's the end game here? You bet, something's, you got to have a plan to be able to pass it on. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Eric is 4 years behind me, all right? So he's not quite there yet, but when I say that, I'm actually starting that process of, passing on, portions of my portfolio that I built, because even though we're in business together, we do our projects separately. We just work under the same umbrella, and we work off of each other's projects, which is kind of cool too. The bottom line is when we started, we found out real quick we were too competitive with one another to work together. Like we'd say, okay, we're gonna start this project, you stay on that side of the street and I'll stay on this side. Well, what's your first name? David. Well, Mr. Dave, the business owner, said, you need to go see Paul over there on the other side of the road.
That's your...
Wait, that's my side of the road. Get off my side of the road.
Anyway, you get it, right? But I will tell you this, because when you got someone that you're working with, this is why it's good to be almost understanding you're part of a bigger team, because first of all, he will motivate you. They will motivate you, all right? So there's something to say about hearing iron sharpening iron. Hearing other people, what they're doing, what they're accomplishing, and wanting to, kind of hang with the best, you know what I mean? If you want to, you don't have to, all right? But if you want to, does anybody in here one day just might want to say, hey Stanley, hey Krista, I did a project in 6 hours.
Woohoo!
You know what that'll do?
Jared did it.
Okay, well, beat that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is one thing that's good about having an accountability partner. You work off each other. So it's worked really good for us. All right, so I got to throw that emphasis out there. That there's not a whole lot of partnerships in here, but ours has worked really good. So 23 years. Yeah, it was very interesting in the beginning. And if there's anything I want to say is you've got the biggest thing is in this business, and it works for a lot of other businesses, but we are just blessed and fortunate to be in this business. You really got to take the cap off of your thinking as far as how much you're worth. Honestly, creating a six-figure income in today's economy, in today's world, in my opinion, is a necessary. It's not I want. No, you need to. And how many of y'all agree in today's economy, you need to make $100,000? I mean, if you have a family, you can't make it on less than $100,000. And that's not me telling you, it's a fact. That's where our economy has gone in the last few years. Anyway, but we didn't realize where this thing was going to go. All we knew is we were applying principles year after year after year and doing things right, making good decisions, being good stewards of our money, understanding delayed gratification, going when we didn't want to go, going the extra mile. How many ever heard that? We were doing things. Now, we were doing it because we had to, meaning we needed to feed our kids, we needed to pay our bills, but we didn't know what we were accomplishing, what we were building until, we'll just be honest, 5 to 10 years later, when it really started manifesting that the labor that we were putting into this, the work ethic that we were putting into it, was going to yield what it's yielding now. And I say that because if I honestly didn't think that this thing could produce a couple $100,000 a year of income. And there's some of you guys out there, or gals out there, maybe thinking the same way. That, wow, you can make a couple $100,000 doing this thing? Yeah. When we start making that, I'm like, well, that's good. Then there's no way you can make $300,000. Then you start making that, and it's like, I literally start realizing there's no cap to this thing. You can make a lot of money doing this. When Stanley found out how much we were making, he decided he was going to do it the next year, and he did. When I said, what do you guys do to produce that kind of income? I'm going to do that. And of course, a type D went out and get out of my way, and they're doing it. So I tell you that because a lot of times we pigeonhole ourselves to how much we're worth or how much money we are allowed to make, or we're worth as far as making. And I'm here to tell you, you're worth a lot more than you even realize. You could make a lot more money than you maybe even are thinking you can make. You just put the effort forth, you apply success principles, and if you ever want to know all the success principles that we've applied, I'll talk to you, but I'm not going to get into them all here because it'll take a little bit too much time. It's a talk in its own. And I talked a little bit about that last year, but I just think it's important that if you just apply success principles faithfully and you stay with it, and you can apply them faster than slower if you want. I mean, do more. Working hard is the key, but I will tell you, learn how to work smart too. All right, you don't have to just work hard. And the greatest thing that's happened that this room is able to benefit from, and future folks coming on, are the tools. We got in there was no such thing as Facebook. There wasn't even cell phones. We had a horse and buggy, in fact. No, not that long ago.
But it felt like we had a horse and buggy.
Yeah, as slow as we were going. But things evolve. And things get better. And guess what? It's going to continue to get better. All right? And again, good for everybody. That's what I say. So if we can do it faster, hey, we deserve it. And what we've been able to accomplish, we deserve. I don't think we're just fortunate. No, we've earned what we got. We don't apologize for making a lot of money and having a great lifestyle. And I would say this, this was mentioned, I don't know if it was Tony or maybe it was Stanley, but maybe it was Mark might even. You just got to know what you want. I think it was him. There's so many people out there running around, have no idea what they want. Because they don't know if they just don't have direction. And it was pretty simple for me. And maybe it's gotten crystallized more recently because you get to a point, it's like, okay, now what? You pretty much get to the point you have everything you want. So how much money do you want to make and what are you going to do with it? You can't give it all away. I mean, you can, but so you start. So Eric's going to share a little bit about where he's came from and where he's at. But I just, before I pass the mic, I'll just say this: for me, and it's different for everybody. I wanted to be happy. Anybody who wants to be happy? I wanted to be healthy, important, and I wanted to be successful. Now, my definition of successful is going to be different than every one of yours. But you just need to know what that is for you. So you know why you're doing what you do, why you go do what you're doing. All right? And so fortunately, more successful, and I say work, my wife by default is successful. We're happy and we're healthy. And it's kind of cool because that's what I wanted. I wanted to be successful, happy, and healthy. And there's other things, but if you can admit that you got it, that's a good place to be. Then you start living your life a little differently. You start living your life to do things for other people, for maybe other things that matter. My family knows this, we live for memories now. We don't, giving, like Christmas, next week, I'm taking my entire family, grandkids, kids, we're doing Christmas in September. And we're going to a 5-star resort, and we're spending 3 days there. And if you knew about the resort,
they'll see some pictures.
Yeah, it's pretty high. We go there for our Christmas party. We take all our employees, him, me, and our wives. Sorry, guys. One day you'll come. And we do Christmas at this resort, and we just can't get away from it because we can't find a better place to go because it's that awesome. So I said, you know what? I think it was 7 years ago. Eric and I had a pretty good year with ABC, and we had a different bonus plan with ABC, and they gave us a lot of money because we did a lot of projects, and we were on a different bonus plan. Anyway, so I took, and for $30,000, I took my entire family to the Cayman Islands for a week, for Christmas, and built memories. Because that's what's important. Giving my kids stuff, my grandkids stuff, it only lasts so long. But to, get pictures and videos of my grandson snorkeling, in the blue Caribbean waters, that's pretty cool. So that's what I live life for memories, to go cool places. I hope you have a bucket list. Places you want to go, things you want to do, memories you want to create, whether it be for you and you personally, whether it be for you and your spouse, whether it be for you and your family. Honestly, my kids are spoiled brats. I love spoiling them. We got, the kids, the grandkids, it's just fun. And, to be able to go do things that they can't afford to do. But I have no problem, taking all my son-in-laws like playing golf. We like shooting guns. So we're going to play on one of the nicest courses. Actually, the senior tour plays there. It's going to be a few $100 a guy, whatever. And we're going to play it. It'll be, their eyes will drop out when they see how beautiful it is. And then we'll go into the woods. We'll have a guy take us out there to do some shooting. And who the heck doesn't like shooting guns, right? Even my daughters like shooting guns.
Yes.
We'll go out there. All the ladies will go get massages. The cheapest massage you can get at this place is $500. That's the cheapest one you can get. That's how nice this place is. And I gotta pay. My wife just doesn't get a massage. She's gotta get a massage. You gotta get facial, skin pampering, whatever. I mean, it's crazy. And then that night, I'll take all 14 of us, kids, grandkids, and we'll go to dinner at a resort, or on this resort, that the restaurant alone, they originally weren't even going to allow anybody under 16 to go to it, but they made a change of plans, thank goodness, because I got 3 grandsons that are 12, and 13, and then my granddaughter, finally got a girl. We'll go there. I can guarantee the meal is going to be $2,000 or more.
Tell them what we did, what we spent last year. So they understand.
We're so stupid sometimes. We take our wives there last year, and we go to the Fawn and Fable. It's like a chop house, and they do 3 tomahawk steaks, each one prepared differently. This 3 tomahawk. I have a picture of it if you don't see it. Him and our wives, we order this. We're like, what the heck? Let's do it. We didn't eat, but maybe did we even eat a third of it? We were eating tomahawk steak for the next week. They were so huge. Anyway, $600. $600 just for the 3 tomahawk steaks. Now we don't say that. Honestly, it's probably not even being a very good steward of money.
It was just stupid.
It's just stupid, but
it was fun.
Memory.
And you should see that when that dude came out, he wasn't carrying a platter, he was carrying a table of steaks. Pulls up to us. We're like, what did we just do? This is after we were eating appetizers, oysters, and anyway, he don't like it, but
I'm sorry. He sets it down, and it's like, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, you guys are going to eat that. And we're like, yeah, what the heck? Like, people were blown away. And just us describing it, honestly, if you would see it, you'd be like, you two are just so stupid. But it's the fun that we had.
And we did eat leftovers the next day. You know, we didn't throw the bones and them away. We still kept eating them. Yeah. And just again, where we came from in the beginning, and it's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So that's what matters. The things you get to do when you work hard. We delayed for a lot of years. We delayed to get to the point that we're able to do what we can do now. And you all have heard, we give a lot of money away. We support, and that's part of the reason why we're blessed. Because you can't outgive God.
Right.
So,
Amen.
be willing to support things that matter. All right, and I think you'll be blessed for that, for sure. I'll let Eric share.
Wow. I thought you have so much more to share. Holy smokes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to. Who's ever heard my background before? Okay, just a couple. That's good. So bear with me, Fred, or ever heard of it. So I'm going to kind of go back to the beginning, kind of describe my life, things that we had went through, and then what ABC has provided for us. And then I got a little, 3.5 minute video that I'm going to play just to kind of give you a snapshot of, for us, what they have provided for us through the opportunity. So I saw this opportunity a long time ago. Well, I used to coach gymnastics, okay? So if you ever see gymnastics on TV, that's what I used to coach, all that stuff. Okay, if you have a daughter and you want me to teach her a double back, I can teach her a double back. No big deal. Piece of cake.
Do it?
Okay. Hell no, it's dangerous. Are you kidding me? No. I'll teach you how to do it. That's easy. But here's the kicker, how I got into gymnastics. So in high school, I couldn't talk to girls. I would stutter so bad. I couldn't get the words out of my mouth. You think I'm kidding? But here's what's so cool. What you think is your weakness, God will then somehow make it your strength. So anyway, so we go back to high school, I can't talk. My coach in high school said to me, hey Eric, I coached the North Allegheny gymnastics team. We're looking for some help. Would you be interested in helping out? I'll show you what to do. So I talked to my parents. They're like, hey, you got nothing to lose. Go ahead, do it. So I start learning how to spot girls. Now, here I am in high school. I can't talk to a girl. It's impossible for me. But yet, I'm touching their bodies. Yeah. All my friends are like, dude, you have the best job in the world. And gymnasts they're built well. I never saw that. I never saw that because I was so afraid of them. I just wanted to make sure that they didn't get hurt. But what was weird is when I was learning this, I was absorbing it like a sponge. I never took gymnastics in my life. I can't do a back handspring, but I can teach. So it was a gift that I was given, but I didn't know I had it. Okay, so I go to college. I start coaching the college team. I graduate. I go down to Florida. I help a program up there. We get that up and running. I move back to Pennsylvania because I want to open up my own gymnastics school. We open up our own gymnastics school. Things are going well. The gymnastics school was in an area that this company went on strike. So we had over 300 students in our program. We were kicking butt. They went on strike. Most of the parents worked at, it's called Allegheny Ludlam, okay? We lost 2/3 of our students. So imagine losing 2/3 of your income. I was making $500 every 2 weeks. Then it went down to $500 a month. My house was trying to be repossessed. Our gas was trying to get shut off. There was a time that we had a tree out front and I couldn't, it was so big and so huge. I asked and this is when God started to step in, and that's when I met him too. By the way, I met Keith before this opportunity, and he and a couple other guys taught me what was right versus wrong, what to believe, what not to believe. And it's honestly, truly, because of him is where I am here today. But and this is what's crazy, but it's because of me is where he and I are today. Figure that one out. That's weird. So we got this huge tree. I don't have the money to get it cut down. It's going to break it, and when it snows, we're going to not have any power. So I called Davey or the electric company. No, Davey Tree Service. They said it's going to run you like $3,000 to get the tree cut down. I said, I can't do that. I called a power company. They're like, we're not going to do that for you. I'm like, okay, so you're okay if my son, who's an infant, the tree, a branch breaks, I have no power. It's okay that he's going to get cold. You guys are okay with that. Have a great day. I hang up. The next day, I open up the door. It's Davey Tree Service. They're like, we're here to cut down your tree. And I'm like, who sent you? And they said, the power company sent you. It's not going to cost you anything. Don't worry about it. What do you want cut down? I said, that tree right there. They said, okay, sir, we just won't take the stump, but we'll take everything else. And they cut it down. I'm like, this is unbelievable. The money that we didn't have, I used to take my children's, who has a piggy bank at home that you put money in for your kids? You know what I'm talking about? We had no money, but I used to sit down and I would take my kid's piggy bank and I would wrap enough pennies while I'm crying because I had no money and I would go to a food pantry, but I would take that money and I would buy like peanut butter or buy macaroni and cheese. And then in the meantime, I was introduced to another business, and I'm trying to build this business, and I'm now going to a food pantry. I have my, so then, and I'm really trying to fast forward all of this, then I find this opportunity. And this guy shows me this, and he said, I was selling something else at the time, and he said, hey, he says, I used to do what you do. I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, I know what company you're working for. I'm like, what company? He goes, you're working for Fanfare Media out of Valencia, California. I'm like, how do you know that? He says, because I did what you did. He says, let me show you what I do. Just wrap up your sale. So I wrap up the sale. We go out to the trunk of his car. He lifts up the trunk of his car. I said, what is that? He goes, that's tables that we're going to be installing at this restaurant down the street called the Italian Oven. I says, don't even tell me people sit there, and while they're grabbing a bite to eat, they're reading these ads. He goes, yep. I says, what about the place coverings that they put over top? He goes, nope, it's in the contract. So I'm like, they're going to read these while, hold on for a second. Hey, Ricky, this is Eric. Yeah, hey, how's it going? Good, I just wrapped up the project. I'm giving you my 2-week notice. I'll explain later on. I hang up the phone. He looks at me and says, you just quit your job? I'm like, yeah. Can you show me this? And he goes, yeah, I'm looking for somebody. Later on, he disappears. Gone. I'm the only one in Pennsylvania doing this. So I call Keith on the phone. And I said, hey, I says, I got to show you something. He says, what is it? I says, I'm not going to tell you. So I go over and I pick him up. We go back over to where I live because everybody knew me around there, so I already had credibility. And I said, watch this. So I go in, he comes with me, and I start selling tabletop ads. And he goes to me, you're taking candy from a baby. I'm like, I know. And I said, and I'm the only person doing this. I needed to show you this. I says, we can do this together. So I called Bill Crabtree, and I told him what I was doing. And I said, I think I got somebody that's going to jump on board with me. And he said, hey, no problem. I call him back on Monday, because this was on a Thursday. I shipped Keith on Friday. I called Bill on Monday. And he said, you want to go ahead and continue to keep doing this? I'm like, yes, because I'm in the middle of a project. I said, I got a friend of mine that's going to jump on board. He says, does he need training? I'm like, nope. I said, he'll be fine. He can watch me. He'll be able to figure it out. And that's how Tabletop Productions was born. And in the meantime, people trying to share or sell our house. My wife calls me, don't you dare open the door. I ended up selling my gymnastics school. Forgot to tell you this, when I sold my gymnastics school, the guy that bought it was a parent of a student of mine. He's always wanted to own a gymnastics school. Every business is for sale. So I sell the gymnastics school. The landlord of where I was renting said, if the guy defaults, you're going to be responsible for the lease payment. I'm like, he's not going to do it, I know. He defaulted 6 months later. I had to pay over $100,000 back to this guy. And I have no money whatsoever. But I kept building this business. I kept going on. So I had a why because I had a nut I had to crack. And month after month, I kept paying Rick. And then I find out he goes to the church that I go to. And he's like, I didn't know you went to church here. I says, Rick, we've been going here for X amount of years. He's like, I can't believe I've never run into you. And I said, where's Victoria? And, hey, Victoria, come here. And he comes over and we're talking, hey, here's my wife. Good to meet you. Rick was the nicest guy. I had no beef with Rick because I was the one that sold the business. I'm the one that I got myself in the problem. I got to get myself out of the problem. It wasn't his fault, if that made sense. So, paid for about 3 years. And he come to me one day after church and he said, hey, he said, I want you to stop down the office on Monday. I'm like, no problem. So I stopped in. I'm like, Rick, what's going on? And he said, hey, I just want to let you know that your loan has been forgiven. You don't owe me any more money. He said, you've been paying for the last 3 years. I said, what happened? He goes, to be honest with you, I've been looking for somebody to find somebody that can fill your space. I got somebody that has filled your space. They're taking over payment. You don't got to worry about anything anymore.
Thank you, Jesus.
I was blown away. Left there crying. Talking about a weight lifted off your shoulders. And my wife stayed with me through this whole thing. And so we start building the business, and Keith and I are driving places. I'm telling you, you people would not go. You'd be like, there's no way. Y'all are nuts. Driving through the mountains, and some of you have heard this story, snowing like crazy. If you know anything about Pennsylvania, Johnstown, PA is one of the worst places to drive to in the middle of winter because you got to go through the mountains. And it is snowing, and we're driving through this. And I have no idea how we never got in car accidents. I honestly have no idea. It's just that we were being protected. But at the same time, we were applying principles. And I think because we applied those principles, that's how we were being protected. God's like, you're going to be a good and faithful servant. I never knew tithing. There you go. I never gave money. He's the one that introduced me into giving money away. I remember when I had no money. And I said, all I have is like $39 left on my checking account. And Keith goes to me, do you ever think about just giving it to God? I'm like, huh? And he's like, yeah. He says, why don't you just write it and give it to your church and see what happens? I'm like, but I'm not going to have any money. He goes, but who's going to do more with your money? You, or do you think God's bigger than you? Hello. I wrote that check, and I gave it to him. And the next thing I know, now I'm kind of getting ahead of myself and I'm going back, but the next thing I know, I get a phone call. This is before tabletalks. I get a phone call because he tells me to give my money to God. Staples calls me, not to sell pens and pencils in a store, but to be a business developer for them. And there were 5 things that I always wanted. I thought having a job would be awesome. I wanted to have my own desk, like my own office. I wanted to have travel expenses paid for, health insurance. I wanted to be commission-based, and I wanted to get overrides. And this guy calls me, Bill Petrosky, and says, hey, Eric, we interviewed a bunch of candidates. I said, hey, I'm looking at doing this. I was going to sell cemetery plots. I was going to do that. And he's like, I don't want you to do that. Hear me out. And he says, oh, and I wanted to make, my base salary, I wanted to make, that was the 5th one. I wanted to make $24,000 a year. He calls me up and he says, we want to offer you the position. Everything that I asked God for filled every single one of those boxes. And I'm in the dining room studying what I thought I was going to sell, and he calls me, and I look at my wife, and I'm crying like a little baby because he was right. He said, can't God do more for you than you do for yourself? And I was blown away. It was at that point in time, my life completely changed because I realized that there was somebody greater than me, and I had no idea. I believed in God. Don't get me wrong. Everybody here believes in God, but I had no idea what he was capable of doing. And so fast forward, he and I start building the business, and it starts growing. And Bill Crabtree tells us that you can make $250,000 in this business. And I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, if you're smoking wacky tobacco, give me some of that stuff. Because there is no way you can make $250,000 in this business. Yes, you can. No, you can't. Yes, you can. And so he and I, some of you, I've told some of you this before, it's a Friday. We haven't sold anything Monday through Thursday. And we're just praying for a sale. And he's like, this is the day it's going to happen, man. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And he gets a sale and I get a sale, and we're so excited. And it went from 1 sale to 2 sales in a week. And then we start doing 3 sales. Y'all are thinking, really? But remember, we're driving. We didn't have anything that you guys have. It is so easy today with what you all have than to what we had. Some of you in here might have been driving the miles, but we would drive miles like crazy to go everywhere. And then all of a sudden we're doing 5 sales a week. And then, oh my gosh, we actually did 6 in a week. Like, that was unheard of. We were like, holy crap, I think we did it. And then I remember one year we made $50,000 in this. Then the next year it was $72,000. The year after that it was, I think it was like $87,000. Then I crested 100,000. Oh my gosh. I had no idea what that would look like. And I moved from where we were. I told Stan the other day, you were saying about what, you were homeless? Or wait, what were we saying about, it was this morning. Was it last night? I said about living in a homeless shelter.
Yes.
And I said, yeah, that was my house. If you would have seen my house that I lived in with my kids, we used to duct tape the windows when they would break because I had no money. I couldn't afford anything. And so we're starting to make money, and we moved to another house. We're renting this house, but it was cute as all get out. And then we kept making more money. We're now well over $100,000. We've jumped up to another house. It was a $300,000 home. We sold, and we kept building it, and the income kept coming in. And I kept getting myself out of debt. Because if I knew you back then, I would have owed you money. That's just the way it was. They taught you to get into debt. I was a master at getting into debt. But there was a point, it was January, and I told my wife, I said, we will no longer be in debt come December of this particular year. And everything I made, I kept going, putting on the debt, putting everything on the back burner, delaying gratification. And today, other than 2 homes, we're completely debt free. I'm about to get rid of my one, not get rid of it, but pay the mortgage off on that, and then just have a second mortgage, which my kids, we've been very blessed. I was able to help my son and his daughter out. My son's a physical therapist. My daughter-in-law, she's getting her PhD in nuclear something or other, whatever, okay? But like he said, today, it's hard for kids to get started. But this organization, you people, that family back there, has allowed me to say, hey son, how about if I do this for you and you can just rent from me? And he's like, Dad, you do that? And I'm like, yeah. But the only reason why I was able to do that is because of what this family has provided. Can you make over $250,000? Yes. Can you make over $300,000? Yes. Can you make more than that? Yes. Can you make more than whatever number you got inside your head? Yes. Please take your limits off of your thinking. You need to think outside the box because you can do it. God didn't plant seeds of inability inside of you. He planted seeds of greatness. And what you need to do is just let that come out. Let him develop you. Whoever you believe in, let that person develop you, whatever it is. All I know is when I was introduced to the truth and Keith introduced it to me, that's when things changed. And here we are, fast forward to today. What evil took away from me, it took away kids from me, it took away parents from me, it took away everything from me. God said, this isn't going to be your life. And then he went, here. I'm sorry, I scared the, oh my gosh. I think you just tinkled, didn't you? And then all of a sudden, things started coming back. And it's not stopping. Keith talked about giving money away. I love to give money to Tunnels to Towers. Our veterans deserve everything that they get. Our disabled veterans, oh my gosh. Every time that's probably the only commercial that really affects me. Do you ever watch the ASPCA commercials with the dogs? And they're like, look at the poor dogs. I'm like, you're videotaping them. How about you feed them? Like, think about that. If they're that bad, why are you videotaping these dogs? How about you just give them the money since you're standing there videotaping them? Anyway, so we just give money away. I remember one time Keith said to me, he goes, do you ever think about, you ever tithe your income? Think about that. Take a year in your life, whatever your income is right now, and what would it be like if you could tithe that income in a year? I had no idea what that was like. So I picked a point in my career with ABC. And I'm like, you know what? I want to see if I can tithe that. And I was like, holy smokes, I did it. Then I moved to another year. I want to see if I can tithe this year that I made back in whatever. And I did that. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying, yay, Eric. No, it's what this opportunity provides. And it is so cool to be able to give back. We give back as a company, but then I also give back as an individual as well. And there's something to be said when you can give your money away and you know it's doing good.
Amen.
And so now today, my wife and I, our kids, like he said, all we want to do, I'm at that, I turned 60, okay? So my goal is to spend I want to be able to build, like he said, build memories with my family. And being able to take my kids places where they don't have to worry about it. It's on daddy's dime, it's okay. Because like I said, what are we going to do with it, okay? So we just had fun. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to do a quick, like I said, 3.5 minute video. This is our life from last year at this time to like today, so to speak. So hopefully everybody will be able to see it up there, and I pray this works. So let's see. So this is where Keith is going. Yes. This is a trip that ABC provided. That's my son. Ran his first marathon. Proud of him. Ran it in 2 hours and 36 minutes.
Wow.
If anybody knows about running, they understand what I just said. That's just the back of our house. We had that built. That's my son and his wife. Only place in the world that has green beaches. It's called the Emerald Sands.
Where is that at?
Hawaii, Big Island. We went snorkeling with these creatures. They're manta rays. The wingspan on them are anywhere between 11 to 13 feet across. That's my grandson.
Awesome.
That's it. It's just it might not be your hot button, but to be able to go from living in a house that you have to be able to duct tape to being able to do this and you're not financing it, you're not paying for a trip to Hawaii for the rest of your life. You can just go because you have the time and you have the money. And if it wasn't for these guys and Bill Crabtree, hopefully, I'm telling you, are we gonna be able to see your dad tonight?
Yes.
Tonight's gonna be awesome to be able to see the guy that pulled this whole thing together. So thanks for your eyes and seeing some of
I got to,
Great job.
I gotta tell you something real quick. While he was traveling, he still put about $100,000 into his house this year. I'm like, dude, what are you doing now? His house is a construction zone in the neighborhood. All the neighbors, what are you doing now, Eric? Oh, what are you doing now?
For 4 years.
Tell them what you've done to your house just in the last year. We already did all this stuff to our house. Now he's copycatting.
He's not lying. Oh, the work he did on his house. Oh my gosh. So we redid our entire basement downstairs. We had a kitchen ripped out. We have two kitchens. We have an upstairs kitchen and a downstairs kitchen. Big deal. We had that ripped out, put a new kitchen in, redid the ceiling downstairs to a coffered ceiling, if you know what that is. We had well, you saw the fire pit and the steps. We had the ability to be able to do that. The back of the house, we did all of that over the course of about a year or so. Had a whole deck ripped off, put a new Trek deck on. The front wall in our house, that was all ripped out. They rebuilt that. They're rebuilding another wall. It's just, but what is so cool is that you pay it all with cash. Like, I'm not financing anything. And if it wasn't for this opportunity, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. This is our forever home. So I'm gonna do it right. Doesn't matter what it costs. I want it to be done right. I want my wife to be happy. A happy wife is a happy life. Yes. Hey, I told my wife when we got married, it says, look, I'm the head of the house. Don't ever forget that. But you're the neck that turns the head. That is so true. So, I mean, it's just, we're just blessed to have that opportunity to be able to just do things. So don't think this is pie in the sky. I mean, you gotta work at it, but man, anybody out here can do what we've done. Just have fun with it. The dream is real. I honestly never thought that we'd be doing the stuff that we're doing. But thank goodness I was introduced to this opportunity and we took it serious. And we're just getting started, seriously. We're having fun. He says he's throttling back. He's throttling back and he's still making money. Now he said I'm 4 years behind us because I'm 4 years younger. So I will be where he is someday, and I'll be able to start to throttle it back as well. So, you got anything else to add?
No.
Yes. Sure. Yeah. Who's hungry for tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Be a good night tonight. So, Tony, you want this?
Yep.
All righty.